So, using a magical power, she tries to help Mrs. Annie to reform her family members. You're doing what you want to do, so let me do what I want to do. She is the one who's giving them life on a day-to-day basis. Hello students and welcome to Prep School English classes. Today's session is your chapter 5 from your snapshot textbook, the lesson titled Mother's Day. What a beautiful title, isn't it? All of us love our mother. Yes, there is nobody under this earth who says that we do not love our mother. That's the fact. Now, when you look at the title Mother's Day, what comes into our mind? Is it the first week of May where we celebrate a Mother's Day? Or is it our own mom's birthday where we want to bring smiles in her, where we want to surprise her, where we want to give her a lovely day? Yes, when something like this comes, a Mother's Day, that's what comes to our mind. A specific day where we can celebrate for our mother. But dear children, that's wrong. There is some food for thought when you look at this title, the Mother's Day. It is not only specific days where you give her pleasant days, it is on all the days that a mother who runs the family, who keeps her home happy, who takes care of everybody without even cribbing. She is the one who should have a day every day. In the sense, she should be taken care. She should get that gratitude. It should be a thankful work for her. She shouldn't be neglected. She should carry that respect and we have to value her. So here, when I say Mother's Day, it's actually a play. It's actually a play where a mother who runs the home is not being recognized by her children or by her husband. And then for long days, she keeps her emotions within herself. But it was time that she expressed with her neighbor. And then what happens after that? Let me take you through the lesson. So, what is that I will discuss in today's session? As usual, I'll be talking about who is the author, what is the title, the Mother's Day, as I told you, what is the theme and the importance and the moral of the lesson, and then who are the characters involved in this play. What are the words in context? There will be some unfamiliar words and expressions in every lesson, isn't it? So let's look at that. And also, I will give you a small short summary on what is the lesson all about. Then let's look at the expected question, the kinds of questions that you can get from this lesson. Lastly, what is the conclusion? How does the lesson conclude and what is that the reader get a message in this conclusion? So these are the few things that I'm going to discuss today. So to take you forward, let's look at who is the author. The author, J.B. Priestley. So something to know about him. He is an English novelist, a playwright. He is also a screenwriter, a broadcaster, and a commentator. So, what has he told us? What has he brought out to the readers in this play? He brings us the importance of a woman called a mother, the responsibility she takes to keep everyone and everything in the household perfect and happy. She is somebody who builds the home. In return, what does the family member have to give her? That is exactly what he has shown us in this play. So, let us have a overlook. Let us overview on what is the whole lesson, what is the whole play about. It is about this beautiful lady who is so very unique, who cannot be a replacement for anybody else. She is none other than your and my mother. Yes, there is not a single day that we don't remember our mother. There is not a single day where we don't think that, without our mother, how did we last at all? Because her sacrifices, her contributions that she has put to whatever you are today is immensely different. We have to understand every mother or every woman in a household. She could be a mother, she could be an aunt, she could be a grandmother, whoever. The lady who runs an household, she has to be valued, she has to be respected, and she has to get that gratitude out of every other individual living in the same house. So, when we look at what is the play all about, the play is all about the status of the mother in the family. It portrays the status, the dignity, the personality of the mother in a family. How the family looks at someone called as this lady of the house, that is the mother. And then the central idea is the realistic plight of the mother. Actually, what is the real plight of every mother? The play, the central idea of the play is all about that. Going to the theme. What is the theme? The lesson revolves around the status of the woman in their household. It could be a mother, it could be any other woman who runs your household. What is the status of her? So the play runs with the theme, the status of the woman in their household, and the play is about a mother, her status in the family, and the central idea is the actual plight of every mother in the household. You need to remember that some of us, the household feels that the mother or the lady of the house is a goddess, but some of us look after her like princess, but some households completely neglect her. She is given a place of a servant, wherein she just does her work, but in return does not get a little bit of appreciation, or it is a thankless job that she is doing every day. So moving forward, what is the message the lesson will give us? Women has an important status in the family. Please remember, for everybody out there, all my dear children, a woman definitely has a very important status in the family. Don't ever think that just because a mother or a woman at home does not go out and work, she is fit for nothing. She actually works. If somebody is working for 9 hours or 12 hours in the office, it is your mother, if she is a housewife, she works more than what one works in the office. Or if your mother is into any kind of profession, or she is also just like anybody else in the family who goes out and works and comes, she does not deny the other household work. So it is twice the amount of work that anybody else is doing that a woman, a mother does in her house. So that being the message, the moral clearly tells us that the woman should teach her family the value, to value her with respect. Her value, it is a woman herself has to teach her family her value, that everybody has to respect, even though nobody is actually recognizing her. It is the mere duty of every mother, every woman, to teach her family to respect her, to value her. So that being the moral, what is the conclusion? When you go into the conclusion, remember to recognize, remember to respect, remember to appreciate, and remember to honor the household lady. I repeat, it's very important for both you and me when we are living in a family, or when we become a woman or a mother or a household lady. We have to get that recognition, we have to get that respect, we have to get that appreciation, and we have to be honored for whatever work we do to keep the family running, to keep the home perfect, and to keep everybody happy. So, this being the overview of the play, we have understood what is the play about, what is the central idea, what is the theme, what is the message, moral, and conclusion, isn't it? So, to move forward, let's look at the characters. The characters in this lesson become important because it's around these characters that the play runs around. All right. So, who are the characters? Now, before this, I want to tell you all this is a complete play and it runs for a page of 8 to 10. And it is important that you students need to open your textbook and read the play because I am summarizing the lesson. But while you read the lesson, the conversation becomes very important and that you can connect. You can connect the actual real picture what is happening. So once again, I have to tell you all that this lesson is a stage play. It is a stage play where you have 3 to 4 scenes in the lesson. I'm not going to touch upon the conversation. I'll be telling you all only the summary and what is the lesson all about. So to start with the characters. So who are the characters in the story? Who are the characters? The first one being Mrs. Fitzgerald. Mrs. Fitzgerald is the neighbor of that household. Repeated, Mrs. Fitzgerald is a neighbor of that household on whom the play is all about. So the protagonist of the story, who is that lady? Who is the mother that we are talking about here? That is Mrs. Annie Pearson. So Mrs. Annie Pearson is the protagonist. She is the mother. She is the lady of the house whom I am talking about in this play. So, Mrs. Fitzgerald is the neighbor to Mrs. Annie Pearson. So, all the lesson I will be telling about Mrs. Annie as Annie and Mrs. Fitzgerald as Fitz itself. Alright. So, moving to the next. She has a husband, she has a daughter, and she has a son. Her daughter and son are around 20 to 22 years. So they are no longer small children where Mrs. Annie has to really be behind them, setting things for them. So going to the next one is Doris. Doris Pearson is the daughter. She is the daughter of Annie Pearson. And the next one, the son, Cyril. Okay, Cyril Pearson or Cyril, however you call, I will call it as Cyril. He is the son to Annie. Alright, so then who is the husband? The husband is George Pearson. Who is the husband? George Pearson. So throughout the lesson, throughout the play, you see on every second or third line as you're reading, these characters reappear. Mrs. Fitzgerald, she is the neighbor. Mrs. Annie Pearson is the protagonist. She is the mother. She is the lady of this Pearson household. She has 2 children. They are grown-up adult children. The son is the Cyril and the daughter is Doris and her husband is George Pearson. So moving forward, let us have a small detailed characteristic features about each characters. So moving to the next one, let's look in detail about the characters. So remember, this is a play and we are talking about a mother who takes care of her whole Pearson family, and then in return, what happens? Do they value her? Do they respect her? Or what kind of family are there? So we get to know in these characters itself. Going to the first one, Mrs. Annie Pearson. She's a very pleasant lady. Soft-spoken, and she's kind of a nervous type. She's a nervous type of lady who is not straightforward, who doesn't want to voice out, who doesn't want to express, who always feels that, the family might think wrong about her. So she's very pleasant and nervous type. and shows excessive love. She loves her family. Her love is so abundant that it cannot be actually expressed. So she shows excessive love and care to her family and home. So she really takes care of her family and her home, and she loves the whole everybody, her two sons and her husband. She loves them immensely. Moving to the next one, if I have to talk about Doris Pearson, she is Annie's daughter, aged around 20 years. She fails being a girl, being a daughter, being a grown up. She is an adult, but she fails to understand another lady. She fails to understand her own mother because she's taken her mother for granted. That means she is not a helping hand to her mother. Rather, she is very demanding, very aggressive, and gets things done from her mother. So, she fails to understand her mother's struggle and does not help her mother at all in any kind of work at home. This daughter, that is Doris, doesn't help her mother at all. So, moving to the son. Let's see what is it about the son. Now, Cyril Pearson is the son. So, what is it about it? He is also equally demanding like a daughter, equally demanding, and never has any sympathy for the mother, never has any sympathy for the mother. He wants everything to be done by the mother, but in return, he doesn't have any feeling for the mother. I think, children, it happens with you all also. Just imagine or reconnect or realize, even when you ask for a cup of milk to have from your mother, she gets it for you. But how many of you all have done the same thing to her? Or how many of you have taken that cup of milk and then put it back in its place? No. You demand that she brings it, you demand that she takes it back, isn't it? So that is where exactly each of us are going wrong. We need to correct ourselves because each of us need to do our own work. It's not that somebody called as mother will do everything for us. All right. So that being Cyril Pearson, the son. Next, going to George Pearson. George Pearson is the husband. Only the wives know what is it about the husband, and at times they cannot be expressive also. So here, as a wife, she goes through a lot of things because he was not a kind of a caring husband. He had taken the wife for granted because every time he would come back after work, the house was set, the table was laid, his clothes were taken care. So everything was taken care. Never did he ever realize the value of his wife. So Annie Pearson's proud husband was George Pearson. And he was not a very respected man in the society. He was not a very respected man in the society because he did not carry few ethics about himself. So he dominates his wife. Everything that has to happen, his wife has to listen to him. That is why she is a nervous type, because she is not entertained when she is voicing out. Do you get me? So that is about George. So have a look at the characteristic features of the family members. When you look at Annie Pearson, she is a nice, pleasant, soft-spoken lady who takes care of her own home. Her grown-up daughter is Doris, who doesn't have any value or any sympathy for the mother. Her son Cyril also is very demanding, and Mr. George Pearson is also dominates his wife, and he himself doesn't carry any ethics. So this is about Annie Pearson, how she manages these four family members of hers. So moving forward, what is it next? Next one is, you see another character. You see another character that is a neighbor of Annie. She plays a very important part. She plays a very important part in the play. She is none other than Mrs. Fitzgerald. Mrs. Fitzgerald, she is the neighbor to Annie and she possesses something. What does she possess? So, neighbor's strong-willed lady, she knows magic. She knows magic. She can read the future. She is a fortune teller. Okay. So she helps Annie to reform the spoiled members of the family. So I repeat once again. Another important character in the play is Mrs. Fitzgerald. She is a neighbor to this Pearson family. She can make magic. With a spellbound word, she can read the fortune. So she understands Mrs. Annie when she expresses about her family members and what she goes about. And then she helps her. She helps her with her magic to reform the family members and put them in place. So these are the characters that you get to see while you read the play or while you listen to the lesson today. So dear children, once again, open your textbook and don't forget to read the play. So moving forward, as usual, I tell you all, there are few words in the context which most of you might be familiar, but few of you might not be familiar. So can we neglect the unfamiliar words? My answer to it is no. We can never neglect the unfamiliar word. Rather, we need to connect it to the context and then we need to understand, never moving forward without understanding. So here are few of them for you. First one is settee. That is a sofa. A sofa set here, it is called as a settee. Sinister means very strong. Sinister is strong. So the next one is flurried. Flurried means you're nervous by doing overwork. When you're overworking sometime, you get confused and then you're nervous. So nervous and confused by overworking. Just ignore this part. You're confused and nervous by doing any kind of overworking. Going to the next one, put your feet down. When I say put your feet down, you need to be very strict. And then dubiously. Dubiously means in an unsure manner. Flustered is agitated. And then complacent, feeling happy and satisfied. Some more to go. To the first one here, astounded means surprised. And then indignantly with annoyance means annoyed. Half-witted is stupid. Staggered is shocked. Stout is a strong beer in this lesson. Stout is a strong beer only in this play. Clot means idiot. And then balmy means insane. So quickly have a look at the words once again. So let's move to the next set. The first one here is guffaw, laugh loudly. Contempt means disgust. A bit thick is unreasonable. Aghast is horrified. And then aggrieved is feeling hurt. Airily, carelessly. Clustered round. Cluster round means you're surrounded around. Moving to the next. Tiddly is slightly drunk, intimidated, frightened. Piken. Piken is a stupid person. What is piken? It is a stupid person. Sulkily irritated feeling is crying. Irritated feeling, sulkily, means crying. Ushering is bringing. And then apprehensive is anxious. And in despair, you know about it, it is hopelessly. So quickly have a look at the words. So these were few of the words that I have put. You will find many more while you read the text. Once again, never neglect. Always find out the meaning, understand and move forward. So I will be giving you a small introduction about what is the play all about and then the plan outlined by Mrs. Fitzgerald. Mrs. Fitzgerald is a neighbor to Annie. Remember, I told you that she is a fortune teller. Out of her spelled words, she does magic. So, using her magical power, she tries to help Mrs. Annie to reform her family members. And then Doris and Cyril, the daughter and the son of Mrs. Annie, they are shocked to see their mother changed, and thus they follow with an argument. So you see an argument between the mother, Mrs. Annie, and her children, Doris and Cyril. And then Annie's comments about her family. She opens up, she tells, she comments about her family members. And then George Pearson is surprised to see his wife's behavior. Whose behavior? His wife. His wife is Annie Pearson. So Annie Pearson's behavior, George is very surprised to see. And then the real Mrs. Annie returns. So what is this real Mrs. Annie? I will tell you all as a story I will go to tell you. And then both the ladies go back to their original personality. So there's a little confusion. What is this original Annie? What is this original personality? That is what the play is all about. Now some of y'all, if you're a CBSE student, back then I think in 7th or 8th standard, if I remember, this lesson you already know about it. If you know about the story, well and good. For the ones who do not know the story, then please pay attentive through this session. So with these subtopics, I will summarize what is the play all about, but it is for y'all children once again, don't miss to read the textbook. Without reading the textbook, you will surely not understand the detailed conversation. It's very lovely to read the play also. So, if I take you to the introduction, the play starts with scene 1. The stage is set. You see two ladies. One is Mrs. Fitzgerald. She is the neighbor I told you. She visits Mrs. Annie Pearson. She visits Pearson's family, that is Pearson's house, and then both the ladies are sitting and talking. So the scene of the play starts with two ladies. Whatever pictures I have put, it is all dummy, nothing to relate with the character. Just to make my slides a little more appealing, I have used. So I have depicted Annie and Fitzgerald here. Both of them, when the play begins, they are sitting in Pearson's house and then they are talking. So where are the family members then? They have gone out to work. So the story starts this way. Two of them are next door neighbors. Both of them are next door neighbors. They discuss about Annie's problem, but Mrs. Fitzgerald is a fortune teller, advises Annie to be strict and become the boss of the family. The problems of Annie did not go well with Mrs. Fitzgerald, so she advises that it's high time Annie needs to change and become the boss of the family because she is the one who is running the family. Annie's status in the family is like an unpaid domestic servant. So that is her sadness. She feels that she is an unpaid domestic servant where a servant keeps working. At least a domestic servant gets paid a monthly salary, but she feels that she is unpaid. She is not thinking about someone has to give money to her. No. She is just saying that she has been neglected. She has not been recognized. She feels unpleasant about this. So to repeat, the play starts with two ladies sitting and discussing and how the neighbor feels sorry to know that Annie Pearson is not being treated well by her family members. What does Mrs. Fitzgerald do? What does the fortune teller do? So she tries to convince her when she is opening out. Remember here that Annie does not have anybody to voice out her emotions, isn't it? So while she is expressing herself, Fitzgerald tries to tries to counsel Annie. So what does she do? She sets a plan. What is that plan? Her plan is about Fitzgerald. First of all, she's very angry about the way Annie Pearson family treats Annie. So she suggests that they should temporarily exchange their personalities by using the magic spell. For example, if I am Annie and if I am sitting with Fitzgerald, we get our personalities exchanged, in the sense I become Fitzgerald and Fitzgerald becomes Annie. So how does it happen? I told you she has got magical power, isn't it? So using her magical power, using her magical spell word, the personalities, to look they are the same, but their character, their personality get interchanged. So she convinces Annie and assures that the change is reversible. Annie was not for it. She was a little scared. But what does she say? She convinces Annie to say that anytime it is reversible, you can become your own self and I can go back to become my own self. No problem. But since you are not straight, since you are not that strong a woman, since you are so sensitive, I want to become Annie for a day or few hours to put the family back in its place, and you will be me, that is Fitzgerald, wherein you silently will stay away in my house, but I will manage your household for a while. Did you get me? What happens once again? Using the magical power, the personality gets interchanged. So let's see what will happen going ahead. So that was the magic spell. Speaks out the plan. What is the plan that I told you? That Mrs. Fitzgerald wants to take the position of Annie in Pearson's family, and Annie has to become Mrs. Fitzgerald. Funny, isn't it? So let's see what will happen. So Mrs. Fitzgerald takes Annie's hands and speaks some magic words. So she holds Annie's hands and she speaks a magic word. The same phrase is there in your textbook. Please read. The transformation takes place. If I am Annie, I become Mrs. Fitch. And if this is Mrs. Fitch, she becomes Annie. The transformation takes place. Mrs. Fitzgerald shifts into the body of Annie and vice versa. She stays in Annie's house and sends Annie, original Annie is sent to Fitzgerald's house. So this is the scene. Before knowing what will happen further, let's understand what are the feelings of Annie. Annie is a mother. She takes care of her house, and every day, she feels that it is a duty. She does not hesitate. She does not feel bad. She's doing all the household work. She's very happy to do everything. But where is that she feels sad? She feels sad that either her husband or her children never recognize how much of work she does to keep that family happy and to keep their home set all perfect for them to come back and start their next part. That is, after the work, when the family comes back, the whole house is set. Who does it? That is Annie. So how much ever work George and his children do in the office, she feels she also does the same kind, in fact, more work than them. Then why is she not valued? That was her feeling. So have a look at what is Annie's feeling. She is not treated well by her family. That is the first one. Not treated well could be she is not attended to, she is not taken out, she is not listened to, nobody is giving her time, could be that. And then she is only doing the household work. She is not doing anything else other than the household work, but nobody values her efforts. They are very, very demanding. The whole family is very demanding. They want her to set their clothes. They want her to make tea. They want her to set their room. They are very demanding in that way. Never gave time to her. They have never given any time to Annie. Then they took her for granted. They have taken her for granted, and none in the family carried any gratitude. So, this was the feeling, the exact feeling of Annie, what she was going through every day. And on a particular day, when she was spending some time with Mrs. Fitzgerald, she tries to express, she opens up. All right. So, what happens after the personality gets exchanged? That is, Annie becomes Mrs. Fitzgerald and Mrs. Fitzgerald becomes Annie. So the original Annie has left the house. She goes to Fitzgerald, the neighbor's house, and she stays there for a while. And the transformed Annie, that is Mrs. Fitzgerald, is in the house, and then the family comes back from work. So now you see the fun. Doris is the daughter who is 20 years old, doesn't have any sympathy for her mother, doesn't help her mother in any kind of work. So when Doris comes back, she is shocked to see her mother. What is Annie doing? Annie is with a cigar and she has cards in her hand. So she is playing her own game, but by then she is smoking. The daughter has never seen a mother ever like this in the past 20 years. So she's completely shocked. Now you'll have to remember, Annie Pearson is a transformed Annie. It is not the original Annie. The character, the personality, what you see here to appear, it is Annie, but all the characteristic traits are of who? Mrs. Fitzgerald. So that is why she has all the guts to take a cigarette and sit, and then she has cards in her hand. So how does the daughter feel? She is shocked. So she enters home. She tells, Mom, I'm going for a party. Get my yellow dress set. So she replies, get it done for yourself. Who bothers if you're going to the party? So she says, Mom, don't you know that I need to look beautiful in the party? So she says, who cares? And your boyfriend doesn't even have any kind of personality. So what does Annie do? She actually teases her daughter with her boyfriend, letting her boyfriend down, insulting her boyfriend on the way he looks. And she says, how can you ever go and date somebody and all, which did not go well with Doris. And she's very, very upset with a very unfamiliar, very different feeling of her mother. So let's see what happens. Her daughter enters the house, shocked to see her mother smoking and playing cards. Doris asks about her yellow dress. Annie answers rudely. She even made fun of her boyfriend Charlie. This strange behavior was too much, and Doris went inside the room crying. She has never seen her mother, and when she demands for something, she doesn't get it. And moreover, her mother has insulted her boyfriend Charlie by saying, he's not handsome, he's buck-toothed, he's stout. Why do you want to look so beautiful in front of her? All those things. So this upset Doris, and then she goes inside the room weeping. Next, going further, Cyril comes back. Cyril is the son. So he enters the house. Once again, he is double shocked to see his mother with so much of change. He sees an unusual mom. So what is the unusual mom like? So her son enters the house and demanded tea. He says, Mama, get me tea. The mother says, I have not made tea. If you want, go and make it for yourself. This kind of answering was very, very strange to Cyril. So she said she had not bothered to make tea, for which he asked if his clothes were ready. If his clothes were ready, if his room is set, for which she says a negative answer. She says, who knows, Manage yourself. I haven't done anything. So he was astonished to see his mother behaving so very strangely. What happened to my mother all of a sudden? All right. So he was very astonished to see her behaving, for which she said that she was liking what she was doing. She said, I'm liking what I'm doing. I need not have to do for somebody else's liking. I need not have to satisfy somebody else. So, you're doing what you want to do. So, let me do what I want to do. That was her reply. This just did not go well with her son Cyril, and he is shocked and he is amazed. He is astonished. What is the strange behavior of the mother at all? So, what happens next? So, what happens next? Cyril and Doris, they are shocked. They cannot believe the strange behavior of their mother. So, there is a discussion between Cyril and Doris. They are so very shocked. What happened to their mother? Why is their mother behaving so strangely? And that too, all of a sudden, something went wrong with her. Is it somewhere that she is upset about? Why is she rejecting all their demands? Why is she doing what she likes to do? Why is she not giving any importance to them? So they are completely shocked. Both Doris and Cyril, they are shocked to see the strange behavior of their mother. They are not able to take it. They can't accept that their mother has changed so much. So, what went wrong? So, what do they discuss? They were filled with horror and shock because this all of a sudden happened. So, that fear, that fright, and that shock all came together. Both wondered what happened to their mother. What's wrong with our mother? Both of them wondered. They thought something hit her head. They thought something has hit her head and she is gone out of senses. And then they thought that their mother was behaving weirdly. She was not her original herself. She is behaving very weirdly. So, what happened to her mother? So, they cried with each other. They could not see their mother behaving in this strange manner. So, moving forward, what happens is Annie's remarks about the family. So, they come to discussion with a mother, they debate with their mother, they try to talk to their mother, and then she remarks about her family. What is the status of herself in a family? So, what does she say? She said that it is high time each of her family member grew in the sense not in age, grew in the sense in their responsibility, in their attitude. So she says it is high time they grew up. Their behavior is actually bothering her. The way they are behaving, the way they are neglecting or ignoring her is what is bothering her. She did her best to keep all of them happy. All through, she has given her life, she has done her best, she has given all her time, doing everything possible to keep them happy. She says, but none of them were bothered about her. She said that the weekends was a holiday for her. She says, Saturday and Sunday, just like how they get a holiday from their office, it's a holiday for her too. This came as such a shock. Who's going to do their work? How are they going to relax in their weekend if their mother is taking a holiday, if she is not at home, if she wishes to go out just like however they are going out? So she said the weekends was a holiday for her and she wishes to do whatever pleases her. She wants to relax, she wants to drink, she wants to go out, she wants to call friends. Whatever pleases her, she said, I'm going to do because weekend, just like how you all have a holiday, it is a holiday for me. So this was an argument between the children and with their mother, Mrs. Annie Pearson. So moving forward, the last person to enter the house is George Pearson. His usual traits were come back home, have a cup of tea, ask for another set of clothes, dress up, no talking to the wife, go back to the club. And there he used to put up his ego, put up his price. So the club people, the society didn't look at him because he was not that respectful man, and they would tease him also behind. But he never knew. He thought that he was very, very perfect because he could control his wife. He was dominating only his wife. He felt that he was superior. So that day, Annie actually speaks out, what does the society think about George? So that irritates him, and he feels, how come she opened up? What happened? Why is his wife behaving so strangely? So George Pearson is the last one to come back home. Children Doris and Cyril are inside the room. He enters, he sees his wife with a stout, that is, with a mug of beer. Earlier, the children saw her with cigar and cards, but now he sees her sipping beer. He was, he was so very shocked. So what happens? He enters the house, very shocked to see his wife's behavior. He was so terribly annoyed at his wife as she was sipping beer. He gets very, very angry that his wife did not attend to him. She did not get up. She did not carry his suitcase. She did not get him tea. She did not keep his clothes. Nothing she did. So he was very, very angry that his wife did not attend to him. She continues to rebuke him by saying he is not respected in the club. So she says, yes, you all, but do you think how much people are talking about you? You have no bit of respect in the club wherever you're going, and you want to go and spend your time there, and when I have been respecting you all through, you do not want to spend time with me. So she started rebuking at him, and then she made him feel so very ashamed. So George just could not, believe or understand what was happening. Why this sudden change? So, what happens next? Next is the real Annie. That is, real Annie who was transformed. She went to her neighbor's place to say she was so restless. What is happening at home? So she enters and she knocks. So while she knocks the door, she saw Mrs. Fitzgerald, that is a transformed Annie, blasting at her husband, blasting at her children, giving no respect, not being scared, not being frightened, nothing. But for this real Annie, that did not go well for her because she dearly loved her family and she did not want to ever hurt them, isn't it? So, what happens then? She realizes her importance at home herself, but does the family realize that? So, what happens when real Annie enters the home? She finds Doris in tears. Doris is crying, okay, because her mother is changed. She can't see her family getting scolded. Mrs. Fidji was a transformed Annie, is trying to scold, trying to scream at their husband and their family. All right, she's voicing out. She is behaving so very shrewd at them. So she couldn't see her family being scolded. George is screaming. He's screaming at Mrs. Fitzgerald, the transformed Annie. He almost went to hit her actually. So actual Fitzgerald informs her to be patient as she's trying to put the family in her place. So, what does this Fitzgerald, the actual one who is transformed into Annie, saying in her signs? Stay cool, I'm trying my best. Don't interfere. So, real Annie gets very, very disturbed to see the situation. So, what does she do? She says to Mr. George, that is her husband, to her children Doris and Cyril, though they think that she is not the mother, she is Mrs. Fitzgerald. She asks George, Cyril, and Doris to leave them for a while. So they go into the room, and then she's left alone with the actual Mrs. Fitzgerald, who has taken her place. So she says, I can't see it any longer. I'm getting very disturbed. Please let us transform. Let's reverse our originalities. Let's come back to our original self and let me manage my family. For God's sake, you leave me now. So, what happens on the stage? It's only Mrs. Fitzgerald and Annie, and George and the children are inside. So, what will happen next? Magic spell to originality. So, once again, Mrs. Fitzgerald holds her hand, and then, she speaks about spellbound magical words, and then they get transformed. Now, Mrs. Fitzgerald is herself original, and Mrs. Annie is herself. But there are few warning that Mrs. Fitzgerald gives to Annie. She says, I have put your family in place. They have a feeling for you now. Now it is up to you to take it forward like that. You become the boss of this house. You take your possession. You get that respect from your family. You see that they value. Never again feel so difficult in front of your family because I have put in this effort to put everybody in place. So, what happens? With the spellbound words, they get back to their own self. Fitzgerald says she enjoyed every moment when she was howling and shouting and teasing at her family. Annie not to be soft at her family at all. She tells Annie not to be soft at her family, not to give any apology or not to give any explanation on what happened. So Fitzgerald goes back to her home. Now the hall is with original Annie. George and the children come back. Then what happens? They want to go soft on their mother. They come back to the stage, that is the hall where Mrs. Annie is sitting. So she is herself back with a smile, as pleasant as she can be. So what happens then? Annie maintains her rough look. Her rough look she maintains because Fitzgerald had told her, for a change, when she smiles, her family smiles at her. Earlier, when she smiles, the family wouldn't recognize her at all. But now, when she smiled, the family smiled back at her. And then they did not want to go out. Okay, Cyril did not want to go out. Doris did not want to go out to the party. Mr. George did not want to go to the club. They wanted to stay back home because they were so very disturbed. So they wanted to spend time with Annie. So they played rummy, that's a game, card game. They cooked dinner for her, and the whole family spent time together. Why do you think they did not want to go? Because that was when they realized what happened to our mother. That was when they realized what are they losing out if they lose out their mother. That's because they realize she is the one who's giving them life on a day-to-day basis. They realize that their mother was the one who brought happiness, who gave them life every day in that home. So it was very important that she should be recognized, she should be appreciated. So they never wanted to go out anymore. George did not want to go and spend time in the club, rather wanted to spend time with his wife. The children wanted to have dinner along with her mother. They helped her out in the kitchen. They played games with her at home, and then they built that relation with staying together and liking and loving each other. So what happens? The play ends. So how does the play end? The play ends with realizing how important the woman, the mother, or the household lady of every home is. The children realizes the importance. They starts to give more love. They starts to respect. They starts to value their mother. So what happens? Everyone listened to her, everyone agreed to her. The play ends in a happy note. Husband and family were willing to do whatever she suggests. They respected her and made her feel wanted. So it's very important that we admire our mother, we value our mother, we give her that respect, and we appreciate every small thing that she does to run a family, to make our lives a happier one. So, how do we conclude? What does the conclusion say? That it's very important to be a part of the family, to be a part of the family in a helping nature, in a understanding nature is very important. Time and companionship should be shared being in a family. Each one should give time to each other and then should be a companion to each other. That's also very important. Then understand each other's value and the relationship. We have to understand when we are living together, we need to understand each other and then build a relation in such a way. So there is no replacement for a mother. This is very important. Yes, all of us know that the word mother only is something very, very unique. You cannot find someone who is similar to your mother. Every mother is very unique. Every mother is very special in her own way. She is so selfless that she goes out of the way to do anything to keep her family and her children happy. That is why we say there is no replacement for a mother at all. So, with this, let's move forward to understand what are the kind of questions that you can expect from this lesson. So, you will find short answer questions for 2 marks. How are Mrs. Pearson and Mrs. Fitzgerald different from each other? So, how are the characters different in each other? Moving to the next one, what does Doris Pearson see on returning home? It could be what is Doris or what is Cyril. Both of them see when they return home. How did Mrs. Fitzgerald try to help Mrs. Pearson? That's a very important question. Why is Mrs. Pearson always ordered about by their family members? Why is she always? Why does a family member always order or demand? Be in a demanding mode. Moving to the next one is a long answer for 6 marks. You will find few questions like this. What problems were faced by Mrs. Pearson and who is responsible for it? So you need to elaborate the answer. What last warning did Mrs. Fitzgerald give Mrs. Pearson? So though the answer might be short, there could be only 4 or 5 warning, but you have to extend it by giving a introduction, a small thing about the story, and then making it for 6 marks. It is 120 to 150 words. Describe the main idea of the play. And the last one, discussion between the conversation between Cyril and Doris. So these are few of the questions or the kinds of questions that will come from your textbook. So before I conclude for the day, let me remind you, please open your textbook and read this play. It's very, very important. So that's it for the day. Before I sum up, what did we learn today? We have learned once again to reframe the word mother, isn't it? Your mom is there beside you back at home during this lockdown, during the pandemic, taking utmost care about you and your family. But please sit back, close your eyes, touch your heart, and think, what did you in return do for your mama? The answer will be not as much as she did to you, isn't it? So, dear children, go back to your mom right now, give her a big hug, cuddle her, and say, a big thank you, because if not for her, you're not you today. If anybody identifies you, if anybody appreciates you, or if you're doing good to yourself, it's all because of your mother. So once again, go back to her, run to her, hug her, and say, I love you, mom. So remember, love your mothers. Love your mothers. It has a very, very deep meaning. Never should you ever hurt your mother at any time throughout your journey in life, because without her, you wouldn't be existing at all. You wouldn't have seen the universe at all. You wouldn't have grown in the way you have to grow, isn't it? So she is a part of your living. She is a part of yourself. So, dear children, love your mothers always. See you in my next session. Until then, all smiles to you. Please give my love, my hugs, and my regards to your moms too. Why is it, ma'am? That's because to have given a beautiful you as a student to me. So please tell her I love her too. All right? See you soon. I will be doing sentence reordering in my next session. Until then, all smiles to you. Bye bye.